This podcast is created by Home Build Zambia to help you as you start and manage your home building project. The podcast is for educational purposes only. Seek professional advice to get specific help for your project. Enjoy this week's show. Welcome to an Architect and a DJ Build a Home podcast. I'm the architect.
And I'm the DJ.
Welcome to another episode of the podcast. We're glad you're here.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. And today, continuing our conversation about where it is that you start when building your own home, we'll be talking about your team.
Yes.
The team that you hire.
Why it's important to get the right people, what they're there to do, and a few other things as well concerning that.
That's what today's show is about. But before we get into the show, DJ, give us today's music trivia.
All right. Today's music trivia is a bit tricky because you really have to know your music.
And the last one was really easy.
The last one was really easy, so I want to make up for going easy on you last time. So our music trivia for today is a song. Pay attention. A song that was done by one half of Silk Sonic.
Silk Sonic.
One half of Silk Sonic. And in the particular song by one half of Silk Sonic, what they are saying is that you can depend on them. You can depend on the one half of Silk Sonic. What is that song? And of course, the reason we've picked this song is because we're talking about, getting the right people on your team and you being able to count on those people. So that's why we picked that song. If you know what it is, do let us know.
That's a hard one.
It is hard.
I have to research that one.
You have no idea.
No,
you would never know. I picked a difficult one this week. All right, let's get into today's topic. Picking the right team. All right, where do you begin?
So I think picking the right team relates with what it is you want to do exactly.
Okay.
So again, and it's a boring thing to keep saying, but we'll keep saying
we have to. It's important that we keep on reminding you.
You have to know what it is that you want.
Yes.
Know what it is that you want, because it will be connected to what type of help you will need.
Okay.
So if I give an example of the Zambian scenario, in Zambia, anything that's less than 120 square meters.
Okay.
120 square meters. And for those who are familiar with Avondale houses, because we're in Avondale House in Lusaka, Avondale houses are around that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I said it before in another show, so I don't know why you're shocked.
It shocks me each and every single time.
So about 120 square meters, anything less than that doesn't need to be designed by an architect.
Really?
Yeah.
So it can be designed by who?
Well, you obviously want to get somebody who knows what they're doing because it's your house. So
you can go ahead and just design it yourself on a piece of paper.
You can
try.
You can put on a piece of paper, but you need somebody to, because there are requirements. Like when you go to the council, there are certain drawings that they need. So you need somebody who's able to understand that and understand some of the requirements. So you have technicians. Who work, like say for instance in architectural offices, who are good at drafting, they go on site. So somebody like that would be able to do it for you. You have designers, you have people who have trained as architects, but they're not yet registered. But they have the knowledge of the design process, they have the knowledge of the regulations required. So anything less than 120 square meters, that can be done by them.
Okay.
But when I say it depends on what it is that you want, you could say that, look, I want a double-story house. I want a double-story house. I want it to be small. So it could be less than 120 square meters. In that case, you want to make sure you go to someone who's going to interpret what it is that you want.
True.
Yeah.
All right.
So you could still say, I want an architect. I want an architect who's able to give me this solution.
All right.
Or I have to hire an engineer so that I make sure that the aspects of the structure are sorted out. Because if you're doing double story, then you need a structural engineer. It could be that your plot is problematic in terms of the soil conditions. So you want somebody with the specialist knowledge for your particular soil conditions to then be able to help you to get the design solution that you want and need.
Okay.
Yeah.
So key players, we're looking at an architect.
So an architect, yes. An architect will design for you. An architect will help you to be compliant with the regulations. An architect will also help you to specify materials. So they'll be able to tell you what materials you need in order to be able to achieve what it is that you want.
Okay.
Yeah. And they can supervise. They understand what the different team players need to do in order to make this thing work. So an architect is very good at coordinating all the other team players involved in getting your house to life.
Right. So architect,
architect.
Possibly an engineer.
An engineer, yes. So an engineer, you get different types. You've got structural engineer, structural and civil engineer. So they're dealing with making sure this thing can
The structure that you
can
build
stand.
will stand.
Yes, making sure that if I put my roof on my walls, the thing is
The
not going to
foundation
collapse.
is
Yes, if
right.
Yes, the correct foundation. You want to make sure that it's like everything is able to hold what it is your structure should be. So that's a structural engineer.
Quantity surveyor.
So a quantity
must?
surveyor deals with cost.
Okay.
Yes, quantity surveyors know how much everything costs. So they also understand how everything is put together. So they're very good throughout the process. They can help you keep a check on your budget. You can say, so like we work with quantity surveyors to say that, look, our client's budget is this. What options do I have in terms of materials? What options do I have in terms of solutions? If I do this, how will it affect my budget? So quantity surveyors are very good when you're planning. They are also very good as the process is going on to make sure that you are within your budget. And as construction happens, they can help keep things in check. So they can be at periodic times, they can be checking, is the contractor going this way? If you have to have a change, will it have a cost implication? So that's what quantity surveyors do.
Who else have I missed?
So we've mentioned the engineers, but there are other engineers like electrical engineer.
Okay.
Yeah, electrical engineer deals with everything like electrical power, how you connect. They even go into further specialties of like CCTV, security and whatnot. All those is under an electrical engineer. You've got a mechanical engineer, mechanical and plumbing engineer. They deal with your things like sewer. Mechanical, it's things like air conditioning. Maybe you've got extract fans. So they're the ones who know what type of equipment you'll need for your house if that's what you're doing. A plumbing engineer will know like what size pipes you need to have, where they should be put, everything to do with your plumbing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me go through some of the
have said-
people that you've mentioned.
Yeah.
You've mentioned an architect.
Yes, architect.
You've mentioned engineer. You've
Yeah,
talked
the
about
different types of
structural,
engineering.
electrical,
Yeah.
mechanical. Who have I missed?
Plumbing.
Plumbing.
Yes, we've said the
And
quantity surveyor.
we've talked about a quantity surveyor. You're scaring the people because this sounds extremely expensive. We're not helping people here. Like, you're scaring them.
Okay.
Isn't it? Okay, but seriously.
Yeah.
Doesn't this depend on the structure that you're building? The how big or how small your
Yes.
house is.
Yes.
Because some of these might not be necessary.
Some of these may not be some of these for the less complex type of houses, you won't need them.
Okay.
Sometimes you don't necessarily need a consultant because maybe the contractor is competent enough to do it.
Yes.
And maybe the consultant can come in to check. So you can say, okay, I'm going to get an electrical contractor.
Let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
You're bringing in the consultant. I'm building a house. Where all of a sudden you mentioned the consultant. Where have they come from? I thought I was
These
just
are the
dealing.
consultants.
These are the consultants.
Yes.
So an architect is a
consultant. Yes.
Okay.
Because you're
All right.
consulting.
Okay.
You're going to the architect with a problem and they give you the solution.
Right.
So the consultant.
Call them by their name. The architect in this case?
Yes.
Okay.
But then, so the difference between a consultant and a contractor will actually do the work. The contractor will take what the consultant produces, the information they produce. So when you come to an architect, the architect does drawings. They interpret everything and put it in a set of drawings. The contractor will take the drawings and any information that I've produced and actually build your home.
Okay.
Yeah. So the contractor isn't necessarily concerned with what do you like, what do you want, how is it interpreted? No, the contractor says, okay, what do you want to do? The consultant, the architect, gives to the contractor and says, this is what we want. This is my intention. This is what I want you to do. The contractor will tell you, this is how much it will cost.
Okay.
Yeah. So contractors won't do what the architect has done in working through with you what you want, the process, identifying what it is you want. They can give you solutions like saying, okay, you want to do this, maybe it's cheaper to do it in this way. Or because of my skill, because of my manpower, we can do it this way. Is this fine for you?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Again, I'm going to take you back because
Yeah.
I speak for the ordinary person.
Please do.
I am building my house for the very first time. I've
Yes.
never done this before.
Yes.
So, like you said, I'm trying to pick the right team.
Yeah.
So I've gone all the way to the start.
Yes.
How do I go about shopping for the right people? Because I need to find the right architect.
Yeah.
If I need an engineer, I need to find the right engineer.
Yeah.
How do I go about it? Because like I said, I'm doing this for the first time.
Yeah.
No experience, no idea.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I'm finding the right
Right
people.
people.
What's the best way to go about it?
So the first person you'd want to go to is an architect, because for most of the issues, an architect will be able to help you. So because they have this role that provides oversight over all the other professionals, an architect is a good place to start. An architect or a project manager.
Okay.
Yeah, those are good places to start because then they'll tell you based on the information you give them about your project, they'll be able to tell you who you will need. In Zambia, architects fall under the Zambia Institute of Architects. So like professional bodies are also a good place to get people. One of the things, and I get this question a lot, why aren't architects allowed to advertise? So professionals like architects, engineers, quantity surveyors, we aren't allowed to advertise, like say for instance, the way you would for a box of cornflakes. So this company will say, oh, ours is the best brand.
Number
buy
one in the
us."
world.
Yes. And then you've got adverts all over the place. We aren't allowed to do that. Our law is changing, or there are efforts being put in place to change the law so that we can be more visible. But right now, we're not allowed to do that, to say, oh, I can do you. There are laws that govern how we practice. And the reason why that's there is because what we do affects the public. So there's more scrutiny on what we do. So even with doctors, a doctor can't just do anything that they want, because whatever they do it really has what do I call it? It has
Serious
implications. Yes, it has implications. So then our professions are governed in that way.
I was told that, and I could be wrong, that
Yeah.
your work should speak for itself.
Yeah, so yeah, and
speak for you.
it's also one of those old professions where it's like, okay, if I do work for you, you really like what I do, you refer me.
Okay.
So a lot of architects get their work by referrals.
Okay.
So like, who did you work with? And yeah, so that's a way that you can find an architect. When you do find an architect, don't just take their word for it that yes, I can do. You have to have an interview. You have to do your own due diligence. You have to find out, can I work with this person? Because this process that you go through is quite a long process, and you need to be able. They're connecting with you. You're trying to communicate what it is you want, and you want this person to now give you a solution and help you through the process. So because of that, you should do your due diligence. Ask, can this person do what it is that I want? Who have you worked with? How do you work with them? What's your process? You want to be comfortable with the person that you're working with.
There are also some misconceptions when it comes to people involved in a building project, your team players.
Yeah.
What are some of these misconceptions?
Well, one of the things is that it will be cheaper for you to not use a professional.
Yeah.
So building is expensive, whether we like it or not. The cost of building is the cost of building.
There's a cost.
Yes, there is a cost to it. Involving professionals or having the right team for your project. And again, we're saying right team. So if it's a small project, you may not need an electrical engineer. And even for the involvement of an architect, you may say that, okay, I'm going to hire you so that you do the drawings for me, so that I get a good design and I get good information. And I may not be involved in the supervision process. It depends on what you want.
A lot of times, it could be like I hire an architect and I say, listen, you design for me, you supervise the building, and we'll handle everything, electricals, plumbing, and whatnot.
Yes. We will do this. And the architect is there to guide you. So you understand, okay, what value can the architect give me in the process? I forgot your question. Okay, misconceptions. I need you to rein me in.
Yeah, misconception.
So the thing is, people feel like, okay, I can just go this route. I can get a drafts person. It will be cheaper for me. But the thing is that it ends up being more expensive because now mistakes are made. Maybe that drafts person is not good at details that will make sure that this thing can actually be built.
Yeah.
When an architect is designing, they're also thinking through, can this thing actually be built with the skill that we have here, with the technologies that we have here, with the money that's available? So all of those things are happening. And yeah, I think it's a matter of understanding. It's a matter of understanding, like, okay, what value can this person bring for me? And being upfront with them to say that, look, this is my budget.
Yeah.
I understand that you're important in this process. How can you help me? And you will get help. But it's important that you get it because it's complex. Putting a house together isn't just a matter of drawing a line. That line means something. And a lot of people are actually being crooked.
Yeah.
And they've actually lost money, or you get into a home and just a friend was telling me the other day that this house was built and they just got a steel rod on the foundation and just did this and the thing fell apart. So nobody was checking what was going on. And there are lots of stories like that.
I think was it in the last episode? I don't know if I mentioned, I met a friend of mine just a few weeks ago, and he said he was building and he went as far as the roof level.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there was a crack on the foundation, went all the way to, and now he has to take everything down. Yeah.
And you could find that having 1 hour with a structural engineer will solve your problem. So I think that there are problems, there is a gap with how maybe us professionals communicate what it is that we do.
Yeah.
And we can do more to explain so that people understand what value they'll bring. But they are important, and I hope the shows that we do sort of like highlight that, and the information we put out highlights that.
True.
Yeah.
So in summary, when it comes to picking the right team, what are we saying?
So picking the right team will, your team will depend on what it is that you want to do. At the very minimum, you need an architect. Anything less than 120 square meters doesn't need to be designed by an architect. But again, understand what it is that you want so that you can get the right people. The different people do different things, so they're needed at different times. And if you don't know who is needed for your project, then just have a conversation very early on during the planning stage with an architect, with a project manager, where you say, look, this is what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Could you just help me think through who it is that I need, at what point do I need them? This is my budget, what can I do with it? What are my options? Then housing is expensive. And spending money, investing in the right team will help you protect your investment so that it goes to the right place, the right time, and you are within your budget. We don't want sob stories.
I like that, protecting your investment.
Yes, you're protecting the hard-earned money that you have.
Yeah, if there's anything that you come away with from this episode, it's about that, protecting your investment.
Yeah.
And that's it for today's episode of An Architect and a DJ Build a Home podcast.
Yes.
We hope you will find something interesting from this episode that you can use. Again, thanks for the company, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye-bye.
An Architect and a DJ Build a Home podcast is a Home Build Zambia production, recorded and produced in Lusaka. The show is hosted by Kalenga, he's the DJ, and me, Mphangela, I'm the architect. Video recording by Sharon Malama, music by Bless the Creative, technical support provided by Bless the Creative. You can find us on Instagram at home_build_Zambia, or on our website homebuildzambia.com, or contact us by email podcast@homebuildzambia.com. Thank you for listening.